second over here. Okay, so the nerve distribution which is written over here, that is for the little finger and the medial half of ring finger, this is for by the ulnar nerve. Apart from this, for the hypothenar muscle also, we say that all the hypothenar muscles, they are supplied by ulnar nerve, and if the ulnar nerve injury is there or the palsy is there, it will lead to hypothenar muscle wasting, right? Apart from this, this factor also which is present over here, this is also pointing towards the ulnar nerve injury, because we know the ulnar nerve is passing behind the medial epicondyle. So all these 3 points, these points over here, all these 3 points, they are pointing towards the ulnar nerve injury. So therefore the answer of this question is the ulnar nerve. The answer of this question is ulnar nerve. Now let us just see few points regarding this. This is the picture which is showing the ulnar nerve, and when we are talking about the ulnar nerve in the arm, it does not give any branch, and when the ulnar nerve is running downwards at the level of the medial epicondyle, it runs behind medial epicondyle. It runs behind medial epicondyle. Then as it is running in the forearm, what happens? It will be giving various branches, and it is giving branches to flexor carpi ulnaris, flexor digitorum profundus. Which portion of the flexor digitorum profundus? It is giving supply to the medial half of flexor digitorum profundus. Just give me a second over here, please. I'm just doing some corrections over here in this app, in this screen only. Okay, I think now it is fine. So when we talk about this ulnar nerve, we know that it is supplying these 2 muscles in the forearm, and over here for the flexor digitorum profundus, we say it supplies medial 1.5 portion, the medial half portion. Now when it reaches in the hand, it is supplying the majority of the muscles, and what muscles? We say it supplies 3rd and 4th lumbrical. It supplies 3rd and 4th lumbricals. Then it supplies adductor pollicis, and apart from this, we say it will be supplying what other muscles? It is supplying all hypothenar, which includes the palmaris brevis, and all interossei, right? So it is supplying all these 3 muscles, all these muscles which we have just enumerated over here. So this is the nerve supply of the ulnar nerve over here. And now if I talk about the lesions of the ulnar nerve, the lesions, it can be at the level of elbow, and another lesion can be at the level of the wrist, and the symptoms will change accordingly. So if I say that this is lesion A and this is lesion B, the lesion A, what happens in the lesion A? So I will just discuss about this ulnar nerve. When we talk about the ulnar nerve, if I talk about the lesion A, or we say high lesion, if the high lesion is there, then the lesion is at the level of elbow, and we can say, for example, if there is fracture of medial epicondyle, if there is fracture of the medial epicondyle, and when this high lesion is there, what will happen? What are the features of ulnar nerve injury? So the features of the ulnar nerve injury is partial claw hand. This is the feature of ulnar nerve. The ulnar nerve injury, the partial claw hand will be there. So you can see this location, this position I have just done with my hand. Now over here what I have done, that this ring finger and this this little finger and this ring finger, they are going into clawing. They are going into clawing, and only these 2 fingers which is on the medial side, they go into clawing. So therefore we use a term as partial claw hand. So there will be partial claw hand. And why partial claw hand? Because the 3rd and 4th lumbrical, as well as all the interossei of the hand, they are affected when the ulnar nerve injury is there. And when we talk about the lumbricals and all the interossei, they are having a common action. What is the common action performed by this? The common action performed by them is this. What is this? What is this? This is flexion at the level of metacarpophalangeal joint and extension at the level of interphalangeal joint. And now when these muscles are affected or they are paralyzed, so this action is disturbed and the hand goes in the opposite direction like this one. So it goes in this opposite direction. So there will be, when we are talking about the claw hand, there will be hyperextension at metacarpophalangeal joint and flexion at interphalangeal joint. So for the high lesion, when we are talking about this, what are the features which we see is partial claw hand, or it is also termed as ulnar claw hand, and this is due to the involvement of third and fourth lumbrical and along with it all intrusion. Now what is seen apart from this? You are having this partial claw hand, and apart from this we say all the hypothenar muscles, that is this muscles, they are supplied by this ulnar nerve, and if the hypothenar muscles, they are affected because ulnar nerve injury is there, so what happens? Atrophy occurs at this location. So this hypothenar eminence, which is created by the hypothenar muscle group, this eminence is reduced and we say the hypothenar eminence atrophy will be seen. Okay, so another feature which is seen is hypothenar eminence atrophy. So these are the two features which we see in the lesion of the ulnar nerve. The partial claw hand is there, hypothenar eminence atrophy is there, and what else will be seen? Sensory loss. There will be sensory loss, and the sensory loss is where, when we talk about the sensory loss, in the sensory loss we say, first of all, if I talk about the palmar aspect, what is the region of supply of ulnar nerve? So the region of supply of ulnar nerve is medial 1.5 fingers. It is medial 1.5 fingers and the adjacent palm area. So it is supplying this whole medial aspect. Okay, it is supplying whole of this medial aspect. Now if I talk about this dorsal aspect, in this also it is supplying these medial 1.5 fingers and along with it the portion of the hand which is adjacent to it. So it is supplying, the ulnar nerve is supplying the same area on the palmar aspect as well as on the dorsal aspect. So when we talk about the sensory loss, we know the sensory loss is in which area? It is in medial 1.5 fingers and adjacent hand and this will be on both palmar and dorsal side. Okay, so this sensory loss will be there. Now if I talk about another lesion which is at the low level, which I have written as a lesion B. So if the low lesion is there, for example, I say at the level of the wrist, that there is a lesion at the level of the wrist, then what can be the symptoms? What can be the symptoms? Now when we say that the lesion is at the lower level for the ulnar nerve, what happens? The clawing of fingers increase. The clawing of fingers, it increases, and we say you can say the severity of clawing increase. Basically the severity of the clawing, it increase, and this is given the term as, this is called as ulnar paradox. It is given the term as ulnar paradox, and the reason behind this is, what is the reason behind this is, it is due to sparing of flexor digitorum profundus tendon or the muscle. So it is the sparing of the flexor digitorum profundus muscle or the tendon. So now what is happening over here? I said if I have lesion towards the upper side, so there is partial claw hand like this. And now if I have the lesion over here, so what do I mean by this? If I have a lesion over here, so the branches which are going in the forearm to the flexor carpi ulnaris and the flexor digitorum profundus, their supply is intact. Their supply is intact. So these muscles over here in the forearm, they are spared. And when the lesion is at this level, only the muscles in the hand, they will be affected. only though they will be affected. So the clawing will be there, but we say that the clawing, it increases like this. The clawing is initially like this, and if I say in the high lesions, this is the clawing, then in the lower lesions, the clawing increases like this. And the reason behind this is that the flexor digitorum profundus, which is coming into these two fingers, it is paired, and it causes flexion of these two fingers. So therefore, the clawing, it increases. And this is given the term as ulnar paradox, because when we talk about the other nerve lesions, we say as the nerve lesions, they are going distal, so the symptoms, they decrease. But over here in the ulnar nerve, as the lesion is going distal, the symptom is increasing. So therefore, it is given the term as ulnar paradox.